Hi, my name is Cheryl Spangler, and welcome to the Good Side of Crypto. And in this video, I wanted to talk about the 7 lessons I feel that I learned in 2021, and I would love to get a comment below on something you've learned. Now, this is kind of like a inside my head was going to be a live cast. May or may not even post this video. But if I do and you're watching it, I decided F it. Just post it. Anyway, 7 things I learned this year that sometimes what we learn, we relearn. Okay, so maybe some of these things I may have relearned. Okay, it's okay. It's like, oh, you didn't already know that? No, we relearn. And the reason we relearn, this may be called a life coaching moment here, this entire podcast slash YouTube slash whatever. Sometimes we relearn in a year because we didn't learn the lesson that we needed to learn the first time. And so I'm not picking out any of the 7 things that I'm going to mention as a relearn, but if you hear it and you're like, duh, then maybe it was just a relearn for me. And anyway, so number 1, self-health is the most important thing that you could focus on in the world. And we already know this, but when COVID hit, it was like, you think there's always going to be someone there to watch over you or watch you or help you or guide you, or whether it's the hospitals, the physicians, the doctors, okay? Because there was a moment that they were the heroes. And then through the media and things that happened, they became not really the heroes because people turned on them through anger and frustration. But you do feel like when you need help, there's always going to be someone who's either been through it that can either you can call or you can help or you can get help or whatever. You can rely on your parents, your grandparents, someone that is a mentor of yours or whatever. But in this year, taking self-health became number 1 for me. Learned it again and again and again. Number 1, my niece, Kristen Vipperman, actually passed away on August 6th. And she actually was 8 months pregnant. And I could go through into all kinds of things that happened that were really weird, like from the December of 2020 up until the point where she was like, hey, we went down for a baby shower, like, I don't know, like, almost a month before all this happened, to Florida. And we celebrated, and oddly enough, every single member of our family who is not in that state flew down, and regardless of the situation that we were in, we made an effort to do this. And for whatever reason, we were all really driven to put this amazing shower on for her. And a month later, she starts feeling bad. She goes in the hospital, and it was like 8 days after she went in, she died. And she was 30 years old, and the baby lived. And I'm not going to cut this crying out because, like, this is a real life. Like, we want everything to be so perfect. And we want to display this, like, amazing life, but shit is happening all around us, and it doesn't mean we need to fall into this deep depression. But her baby's name, oddly enough, is Summer Rain. Because 1, she's reigning the world, and 2, she was born in summer, and that was just the name that Kristen had given her. And for all those that are asking, no, she did not have the shot, because at the time, the doctors were telling pregnant women not to get the shot. And it was literally like her story went viral, for 30 full days. Because it was after that the CDC decided that they were going to tell pregnant women, it's okay. Your baby's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. It's still a personal decision. Obviously, you make your own decision. But it was after that they said all pregnant women need to reconsider. They need to get it. It's okay. You're going to make it through. and to get the shot. This is not an get it or not get it. It is not a conversation about that. But self-health, back to the point. When you're in the hospital with things that happen that we never thought would happen, like COVID, it isn't anyone that's going to be there. There's no one that's going to be there but you. You have to self-health. You have to take care of your body. You have to eat right. You have to say no to sugar. You have to stop saying, oh, I don't eat the green stuff. You have to take responsibility, because when the shit hits the fan, you're basically having to take care of yourself in the hospital. You have to manage your breathing. You have to heal your organs, or obviously medicine helps in some cases. But this was truly, truly a test of, can you manage your own self-health in time of like trauma? Because you had to. Like, now it's like you go in the hospital, no one's going to be by your bedside running back and forth to doctors and nurses, because no one was allowed in. And still, even afterward, no one was allowed to have access to the body, And so my point is that love yourself, take exercise seriously, stop making a joke about it, because when it comes down to it, there are situations like we learned this year that you are 100% responsible for your own health. And when things like COVID come and you're like, maybe one day you might be in the hospital, it's up to you to save yourself. There's no one else that can be there sometimes. Anyway, self-health, relearned it over and over again. She wasn't the only person in the family that passed away from COVID in our family. And so if anyone's out there is dealing with any death from COVID, I have another lesson in these 7 for you. So lesson number 2, you can move fast without feeling like you're contributing to the rat race. This year, I feel like I moved really, really fast in technology and learning and education and absorbing things and changing myself, and and somehow I didn't feel like I was in the rat race. And so I was in this class and I made a comment about, I don't like living in the rat race anymore. Sure, I've done marketing for 10 years, and in a lot of the years, I've been like this over marketer and always on, right? 24/7. And this year I completely withdrew from 80% of what I was on and focused on 10%, which, by the way, if you're watching this, it's one of them is YouTube. And um you can move fast and make changes fast without living or contributing to the rat race. That is the lesson that I learned this year. If you have a comment about that, or you're thinking about something that you did where you actually withdrew more than you put out, but somehow you still moved really fast and made a lot of things happen. That's what I mean. And so number 3 is starting something new doesn't have to make sense to others or yourself. Sometimes you are driven or inspired to start something new, and you don't even know why necessarily you are driven to do this. And you don't have like all the answers on why you are, and you don't have the answers for other people too, because people like to know, why are you doing that? Or what made you want to do that? Or what's your end goal here? And I may have even talked about this before, but first of all, it's not your job to convince other people that what you're doing is the path that you should be on, or the path they should believe that you should be on. It is not your job to convince other people what you're doing, why you're doing it, and that there's some goal behind it that they believe in. It's not your job to get people to believe in what you're doing. And sometimes when you start new things, you don't even know why you're doing it, but you know that you can't not do it, right? You know that when you go to bed and you still don't do that thing, it's bugging the crap out of you. And so you need to get up and do it. I mean, whatever it is, whether it's starting a new technology or taking a class or learning something new or quitting your job or getting with someone or getting out of being with someone or whatever. I mean, it could literally be any part of your life. Could be money, could be you don't know why you're doing it, but you know that deep down you're driven to do it. That is called inspiration. I think you should like take that and just run with it. And so number 4 is fear. Fear can truly be a life killer. I have actually lived most of my life fight pushing through the fear, right? Of anything, whether it's like work, career, personal, relationships, health and fitness, bodybuilding, like pushing through the fear that like maybe you're not good enough or you can't do it. But fear can truly be a life killer. And this year I kind of have learned this lesson yet again. And that is, you know that you need to end something when you find yourself complaining about it all the time and yet you're not doing a change. You're complaining and you're not making a change. That is that is a clear sign that you have massive fear around a certain thing and that you need to find a way to work through it. I'm not saying like if you're looking to quit your job, just quit anyway because you don't have a replacement. I'm saying if there's fear, your inner guidance system is basically wanting to be joyful and happy and do that thing, and you're not allowing it. And it's causing a big knot and it's causing fear. And the only way to get through that is to meditate, to journal, to appreciate yourself more, to allow to maybe stop asking for something and just allow it to come to you. And how do you do that? You basically do it by being more quiet, stop talking, stop negative self-talk, and then just it things will start happening and then events and inspirations and people and opportunities. Say to yourself, opportunities come to me in every way, every day that are best for me. And so, anyway, number 5 lesson I learned in 2021, moving past trauma can be as simple as forgiving yourself or forgiving others. That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving past trauma, like whatever it is, I know that there's so much trauma right now, right, in the world. Moving past trauma can be as simple as forgiving yourself or forgiving others. And I know we all are going through or have gone through something that we're thinking about in our mind right now, right? Even if it's like a tiny trauma, right? Sometimes tiny traumas just like stick with us for a long time and we literally our whole life revolves around this little tiny trauma. And yet forgive yourself and forgiving other people could literally end that. Number 6, impact doesn't have to be global. Okay. So every class, every online course, everything scrolling through news feeds is like how you're going to impact the world. And I'm all about impacting the world too. But my lesson is it's like, don't try to change the whole world at once. I am at fault for this. Just start with one little thing or do one little thing for one person and respond to one person or impact one person. And that one thing just might be the thing that takes your impact global. That's my lesson for 2021 on that. And number 7 is the story you tell yourself literally will change your life instantly. And if you want to make a bigger impact on the entire world in business, this if you can inspire someone to change the story that they tell themselves, you're literally going to change their life. I mean, I say this in business world. In personal, the story you tell yourself will change your life. You change your story, you will change your life. You change your story about yourself, you will change your life. If you inspire someone to change their story about themselves, you're basically going to have a successful business, period. Like, period. You inspire someone to change their story about themselves, and you're going to have a successful business. So I would love to hear like what you guys do for business. And if that sentence makes you think a little bit about what you offer, if that sentence that I said makes you think a little bit about what you offer the world and maybe how you could offer it differently, then maybe I helped you. Anyway, these are my 7 things. Drop a comment on something that you feel that 2021 brought you in a lesson, and especially those lessons that are repeat lessons. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this and have an amazing New Year's Eve. 2022 is tomorrow, and I look forward to building an amazing community here on YouTube and outside of YouTube on the good side of crypto.
The sun is shining, I knew it would. The world's a playground, I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all